Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by, and this is part one of the Cattleya series, which will follow, following on from our Phalaenopsis series, our Oncidium series, and this will be Cattleya Type series. And as usual in part one, we're going to unwrap and take a good look at the plants and see what we've got. I've got these clay pots out because I know full well already these pots will not stand up on their own. The Cattleya specific is top heavy to say the least, so we'll lift that one out gently and the other one's promptly going to fall over, as I've said. And the reason this one is falling over is the plant is top heavy, it's potted in bark and it's quite dry, so that's the reason this keeps falling over. If we get the wrapping off and we can stand it in a clay pot for now, and then it will at least stay upright while we have a good look at it. This is not going to have an ID, I can guarantee that. This is just going to be Cattleya hybrid, and that's probably how it will have to stay. There are so many purple Cattleya hybrids, the chances of getting a name are pretty slim, unless I can find out where it came from, possibly. Now we've got some loose bark in there, that's going back in the pot, just to fill up that little gap. We've got some weeds growing in the pot. Now, yes, they are a problem because the weeds' root systems can get right down in the pot and start using up the nutrients and stuff. So they've got to come out, but they're not exactly a big deal. They're not doing any harm. Oh, now it's out of the bag. It's actually standing up nicely. Now I know, where is it? Here. When I picked the plant up initially, I knew straight away that a pseudobulb was broken. That one's been damaged, but it's an old one. But I'm not leaving it there to cause a problem, so that's coming straight off. We'll get that off. So we've done that. Now, I've got a feeling I know what this is going to be like when we actually get this one out of the pot, but this is in bark and stones. I think these are sort of grow stones, I think. They have, they're capable of holding some moisture. They're full of tiny little holes, so they're slightly porous. They're not like a normal, like a rock, that type of thing. So what we've got here is not many bulbs, but we've got some small ones. Yeah, that's a sure sign that this has been grown on from a seedling. And the fact that, I'll see if I can show you, if you look down in here, you've got moss and possibly cocoa fibre. So this has been potted on, not repotted. So the chances are any roots that are in the centre of this plant when we get it out are probably dead, but not necessarily. It depends how tightly packed that moss and cocoa fibre stuff was put in as a, when it was a young plant. And then it would have been lifted out and put in a bigger pot with some far more suitable media around the outside. Much, much better if you take that stuff off first. Right, so coming round here, what we've got is a growth here in bloom. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blooms on there. Don't know what the light's going to do, but the richness of colour is what attracted me to this. That lip is absolutely stunning. So we've got that new growth here. Next to it we have another new growth with buds. Then we've got another new growth that if it wasn't full of slug pellets, it might have actually bloomed, but I don't think it will now. That's had something sitting where the buds would have come out. And then round here we've got yet another new growth that has a sheath, which hasn't got any signs of buds in yet. So for a very small plant, I've got 4 leads. 2, 3, 4. 2 of which are definitely, one's in bloom, one's going to, and one might, one probably won't. So this has reached blooming size very quickly from quite a young plant. So I would say it's probably quite vigorous and will probably bloom on every new growth. What new growths can we expect on this in the future? I'd say 4. And if it's that vigorous, possibly more. So this could grow into a bit of a giant size-wise, this way, relatively quickly, which is good. Not all Cattleyas grow like that. Some of them are slow to progress, just 1 or 2 growths at a time. So it's a nice plant. We are bug-free. We're not weed free. I doubt if the weed will just pull out now. It'll come out when it's repotted, when all the old media is cleared off. But yeah, that's a nice plant. You see no bugs. So I'm just going to take a couple of sheaths off, make sure we've got no scale lurking. And that's where they get on Cattleyas. They get in here, in behind that. I think we're okay. I must admit, I haven't had any bugs from speciotic plants. They probably treat them, or they're treated prior to them getting hold of them. But this is where they get, in behind this lot. And in behind there, you can't see them. And in behind there, they will breed like hell. And then they'll migrate out from their hidey holes and get on the rest of the plant and start damaging your stems and your leaves. And in some cases, your brand new root tips. So they're really not to have. Better avoided at all costs. That's a nice plant. And these blooms have been out a while. You know, they've had water on them. They've got some watermarks. I didn't know that. Because now it's got in the bright light, it's got fragrance and it's good. Excellent. Bonus. I don't tend to buy a plant for its fragrance, but that's a good Cattleya. Yeah, good stuff. I doubt if we'll ever get a name for it, but we may try. I'm just going to pop that in there just in case it decides it wants to go sideways. And this one, I've already seen this one, and whether I like it or not, this is going to have to be repotted. Whether it's the right time or anything like that is irrelevant. I've come across these before, and if you don't deal with these, you will lose your root system. This has been imported like this. This has got nothing to do with our country whatsoever. And what it's in, if it will gently lift out, which it will, is pieces of actual coconut shell. So this isn't fibrous, this is the actual shell. It's in two pieces, and the little plug would have been sandwiched between the two and probably wired, yeah, you can see the indentation where the wire was, and wired tight. And that's where it's lived. Now in the environment, probably Thailand or Malaysia, something like that, that would be okay. Because with the heat and their airflow and everything like that, it would dry. But not so much over here. And the problem you usually get, doesn't look too bad, is trying to take this off is going to do some serious root damage. But all the ones I've done it with so far have recovered relatively quickly. So, and we have a nice open mesh basket. These are almost impossible to get now. So that's a bonus. Get a Dracula or something in there one day. So as a plant, this is compact. I like that. Just trying to see if it's probably been grown on from a seedling. Looking at these small older pseudobulbs, but then the pseudobulbs on this one are not growing very large ever. They're just getting slightly larger and fatter. It's a monofoliate, so single-leafed variety, and we've got growth direction in two directions, and the two latest growths are the ones with the spikes. We may have three directions, and it could be that there was a third direction of growth that didn't bloom. But it's a nice plant, very nice plant. Have we got any fragrance on this one? Incredibly slight. I didn't get this for the fragrance, I got this for the blooms. They're very delicate and very attractive. We'll be taking closer looks at these. But we've only got two spikes. They're in full bloom virtually. How many? I've got three buds on that spike still to open, and a couple on that spike. Which implies none of these blooms have been open very long. Whereas with that Cattleya, I think those blooms have been open a while, so they may not last much longer. But Laelia blooms, you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks normally. I didn't have a tag on this one. Now, where did that flipping disappear to? Oh, I might have to get in touch with them, because that did have a name. He said it was an unusual hybrid. and I'm pretty sure it had a name. But given the coloration, number of blooms on the spike, this one may be findable on the internet if I can't get hold of the name. But often with speciotic plants, they don't have one, they have quite a few when they get some in. So maybe on eBay there's another one of these still for sale. Although the guy did say they had 3. They were all slightly different colours, and two of them were sold before the show even opened. They were bought by people setting up other stands. They were just gobbled up. This was the only one left. And quite honestly, this was in the display. I didn't think this was for sale. So I bought the Cattleya, and he went round and said, well, if you're interested in Cattleyas, are you interested in this Laelia? It's a lovely delicate version, multi-floral, which some Laelias aren't. They only have a single bloom, some of them, and many are only 3 or 4. So many blooms, not large, but delicate. And I said, well, that's in your display, isn't it? He said, well, it is now, but then he picked it up and he said, no, it's not. So he took it out of its display sort of casing, which was like a bark tube, you know, like you can buy for reptiles and things. You know, you put them on their side and your spiders and lizards and things hide inside. But it was stood on end, and this was inside with lots of moss around the top, which a lot of it is still there. So anyway, he took the casing off. I said, oh, you're not going to leave that then? He said, no. We can reuse that or sell it. Okay. So that's what I got. And this has got to come off. Might not be immediate, but because it will cause root damage. I've had these before. It's just solid, and there's very little space on the inside. So that's our 2 Cattleya types. A true Cattleya, I would say. Probably just pure Cattleya, but a probable complex hybrid. And he did say this was a hybrid, but he did call it a Laelia. So it wasn't a Laelio Cattleya or a BC or anything like that. So hopefully it is a true Laelia. And we'll go from there. So the next one of what's in my pot is going to be complicated, because we already know what's in our pot, and we, collectively, Roger, does not like it. So the what's in my pot for that one is going to be next to nothing, because I'm not going to take that off until we get to the repotting video, which is the 3rd one in the series. So that'll be a short what's in my pot, because we already know. So that's the 2 Cattleyas, and we're going to follow these right through. The only difference with this series is the plants are highly unlikely to end up in the house. Where I put the Phalaenopsis, there's just going to be about enough light for the Oncidiums, hopefully, but there won't be enough light for the Cattleya and the Laelia. Yeah, so they're probably going to have to come in the grow room. That's later. That's now. Okay, thanks for dropping by. Start of the Cattleya type series. See you next time.